This is Sherlock's story. This horse was an extreme case of high-low, with front hoof angles more than 10 degrees different from one another. His feet were neglected for a very long time, and he likely also suffered from chronic laminitis. Here's some updates on details I got wrong in the last video. He actually came from an auction, not a kill pen. He was sold as is, claiming he's up to date and super great with his feet, but they're just at different angles now. This boy likely didn't have his feet cared for years, turned out on pasture and eating rich alfalfa. By this time, he was unable to bear weight on the right front leg, meaning his left front could not even be trimmed. After seeing the amount of coffin bone loss on the single lateral radiograph of the right front, it was rightfully determined that this horse could never live a pain-free life and he was humanely euthanized. I am very grateful to have been donated his legs for further study. Here's what that right front looks like inside. We can see down here the front half of P3 is just gone. There's only about 6 millimeters here of sole depth. At first, when I only had the one lateral x-ray for context, I thought we just had a classic case of founder, but now diving in further, we can see a lot more going on. The navicular bone and its surrounding structures are quite damaged as well. He did have this very robust digital cushion that likely kept him going for a long time despite this much damage and pathology. Here's the other half of the leg. He has about 20 degrees of coffin bone rotation and over 25 millimeters of distal descent. Externally, we can see this foot has a very unhealthy white line. We can see at the toe he has pockets of white line disease working its way up the hoof capsule. Toe loading, the mechanical forces of overgrown feet, and inflammation all create susceptibility for white line disease. Chronic toe loading from contracted tendons forced this horse on his toe. Not only did he get this drastic remodeling of the front of P3, but it also caused this upward pressure of the heel pushing on the back of the coffin bone and shoving that navicular bone into the joint spaces between P2 and P3. This hoof was very unhealthy inside and out. The hoof wall is riddled with chronic event lines, and there's this huge lateral flare with a quarter crack and an arched coronary band from the pressure in the quarters. Now here's the low foot, the left front. The navicular bone is significantly healthier on this left side. The foot is not knuckled over, forcing the navicular bone into that joint space between the short pastern and the coffin bone. There might be a small ski tip at the apex of this coffin bone, suggesting some mild bone loss. This foot had a slightly smaller, but also pretty healthy digital cushion. This likely kept him going with this level of discomfort and pathology. The heels of this foot were extremely run forward and crushed. Both feet had ongoing chronic event lines. I will likely be opening these up for further investigation on the health of the lamini and more. Rest easy, sweet boy, and thank you for your donation.